everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Deluxe Theatrical Edition Peacemaker. This is John Cena as Peacemaker, based off Season 2 of the TV show, which I just finished. Been waiting for this guy for a long time, decked out with accessories, so let's take a look at the packaging. I did find this guy at Target. 22 move parts, McFarlane Toys, ages 17 plus. Deluxe Theatrical Edition, DC Multiverse Peacemaker from Peacemaker the series. Here he is in the package. We have two heads, two additional helmets, his gun, Eagly, collector's card, and display stand. One side of the package, Peacemaker. Other side, Peacemaker. At the bottom, there's his barcode if it helps. And at the back, here he is posed up in front of the peace sign. So with no further ado, let's open him up. Alright, now that we got this figure out of the package, here he is with all the accessories laid out. He has a display stand, a collector's card, his Desert Eagle weapon, two heads, one masked, one unmasked, and then two separate helmets. Of course, we also have a sidekick, Eagly. Before I tailor all that, let's talk about and check out the figure. So this is Peacemaker, played by John Cena from, you guessed it, Peacemaker. Specifically Season 2 of the TV show. Now, they made a Peacemaker figure several years ago, but that was from the Suicide Squad movie where he was first introduced. And since then, he's had 2 seasons of his own TV show, and it's quite fun. If you haven't checked it out, you should definitely do so. So let's take a look at this guy. Now, it is predominantly reuse of the old figure, but it has some significant upgrades as well. Now, looking at his face, the likeness is pretty good, although you can't see most of his face. But the eyes, the chin, the mouth, it looks like John Cena. That's the helmet from Season 2. And I thought it was one for the alternate dimension, but that one looks a little bit different. This is more his traditional helmet. It has the blue sort of streaks on the side, the dove of peace in the middle. Beyond the sort of blue or teal streak, everything else looks pretty much the same as Season 1. He's got the dove of peace right in the middle of his chest. Excellent texturing on his shirt and torso area. Double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. They added a holster to this guy because back when the first one came out, they weren't allowed to add guns with DC figures, but they can do at least some of that now. He's got a utility belt with this sort of blow dart, extra ammunition, etc. Khaki pants, tall boots. The wrist and ankle joints are a little bit outdated, still those old hideous balls they had from the first couple years. But it's a good looking figure, and I'd say it is an upgrade from the original. And a closer look at his face, helmet, and head sculpt. I think it looks really good. I can completely see John Cena in here. And then here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories. And let's start off with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand, typical McFarlane display stand we've seen plenty of times before. We also have his collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of Peacemaker from Season 2. Actually, you can see he's got the sort of blue or teal streaks through his helmet. DC Theatrical Edition. On the back side, there is a description. If you want to read that, pause now. And now for his heads. He has 2 of them, one with the helmet on, and one unmasked. Here's a look at his first head. This one has the helmet on, the sort of teal streaks, and the dove of peace right in his forehead. And here's his alternate unmasked head. Once again, I think the likeness to John Cena is good. Not great, but good. I'd say every bit as good as most of the Mattel wrestling figures that I have of John Cena. And it is a substantial improvement over the unmasked Peacemaker from the Suicide Squad. McFarlane has come a long way since then. And actually I have another original unmasked one that I popped a wrestling John Cena head, which the likeness was much better than the McFarlane DC Multiverse version. And I don't think it's supposed to do this, but when I was taking off the masked head, the actual helmet came off. Drop me a line in the comments below. Let me know if yours does this as well. Maybe it is supposed to be this way. It actually attaches pretty securely, but then comes off. And so this will be the Season 2 Peacemaker helmet from the regular dimension. And then we have the Season 2 Peacemaker helmet from the alternate dimension. And then we also have the original Peacemaker helmet. You know, it probably is supposed to do that. I like that. That's a pretty cool feature that I was not aware of. This head looks pretty weird with that thing on his forehead, but it gives you a lot of different display options, and I think that's really, really cool. Now let's look at his helmets. He has 3 of them, and they actually work on his head. The first one is from Season 1, or the Suicide Squad. The second one is from Season 2, and the third one is his alternate dimension counterpart. Here's like a Peacemaker with this regular movie or Season 1 helmet, and then with the Season 2 helmet, which is the same sort of sculpt and shape, except it has the green, and then the Dove of Peace is painted gold. And then here's going to be the alternate dimension version of Peacemaker. Similar style, but the thing around the helmet is not a complete circle. You can also have the unmasked John Cena holding one of the helmets under his arm as if he just took it off. Now let's look at his gun. This is sort of Peacemaker's signature weapon. It's a Desert Eagle. He used it in the movie and the show. It's really just a very long pistol. You can see the silver barrel there. The handle is white, and it has the Dove of Peace on it. Peacemaker engraves that on all of his weapons. Here's like a Peacemaker holding his Desert Eagle. Looking pretty good. And then here, holstering his weapon. Here are a couple of other weapons that the McFarlane Peacemaker from the Suicide Squad came with. The unmasked version came with this axe or hatchet. As you can see, it's got the Dove of Peace. And then we have the sword. This one came with the regular version of Peacemaker, and it also has a Dove of Peace down there. These weapons were used in the Suicide Squad movie for just a couple seconds each, but they were definitely present. And then we have his sidekick, Eagly. It's like getting a whole other character, a little pack-in. But I'm kind of disappointed because it's the same eagle that came with the version of Superman, the big swole one, as well as Beast Boy. It has no articulation. I mean, it's painted about the right colors, but it's a pre-posed eagle. And it just sort of sits there. It'd be nice if he could move his wings or do something at least. But I do appreciate the fact that we finally have an official Eagly figure. Here's like a Peacemaker with Eagly on his arm. It's a balancing act. It really doesn't have any good way to attach to him. This thing's just leaning on the wall and bouncing onto his arm. Would have been nice if there was some little way to plug it into somewhere on Peacemaker. Now I also have this eagle that came with a Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Spirit figure. This eagle's definitely better. The color might be a little bit darker, but has articulation in the neck, the wings, and the legs. And it even has alternate wings, so you can have it flying or just sort of sitting there. And it's actually articulate enough that you can pretty much give Peacemaker a hug. Just like at the end of Season 1. Now this guy is definitely going to be Eagly for my Peacemaker. What do you guys think? Which one makes for a better Eagly? I'm pretty sure nobody's going to argue with me and say McFarlane's is better, because this Hasbro G.I. Joe one is quite nice. Now let's check out the reuse differences and similarities between this Season 2 TV show Peacemaker and the original The Suicide Squad movie version. And it is 100% the same figure, same sculpt, same articulation. We have a belt, holster, and some pouches added, and a completely different head. So let's take a closer look. So, start with their heads. The likeness is definitely better on the new one. And the fact that you can actually sort of take the mask off and you can see his full face, it looks way better. The nose, the mouth, the eyes, I don't know, this one just has sort of a weird blank expression, the mouth's not very convincing. And this one looks like John Cena. Now everything else is pretty much the same. I mean, the paint job might be ever so slightly different. The biggest difference is going to be he has these magazines, the silencer, blow dart thing, and then the holster. He doesn't have any of those things, but pretty much everything else is the same. We now have 3 different McFarlane DC Multiverse figures that utilize his base body. And they're all Peacemaker, 2 from the movie, 1 from the TV show. And now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing about 7.3 inches tall, which can translate to just over 18 centimeters. And if you go to the top of the helmet, about 7.5 inches tall. And for his articulation, starting with his head, of course, you're going to rotate side to side. He can look up about that far, down about that much. He can't tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes up more than 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. He does not have that typical butterfly ring, but there's not a big gap to cover up. Bicep cut. Double jointed elbows, and that looks pretty damn bad when it's like that. His wrist can rotate, and it's hinged, and you can see it's a sort of old style ball joints. A lot less seamless than the modern stuff. His torso is one solid piece. He's got a ball joint in the waist, rotate around, forward and back, and it's really interesting how they did this guy. He's got this sort of soft overlay, and if you look underneath, it's like a whole other torso with a red texturing. But that way, if you lift it up, you don't see a gap there. It's still textured the same, and it looks better that way. Legs complete as splits, or at least this far. The holster obstructs that side. McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation is actually pretty good on him. Legs go forward almost all the way. Back not much. Double jointed knees. And his ankle. Forward and back. Tilt rock. Rotation. And toe articulation. Here's a look at Peacemaker and Eagly. He's in his armory. You can see his rack full of helmets. All the different weapons in the background. And then Chris Smith there holding his helmet. And Eagly getting ready to enforce peace with his vow. He'll kill as many women and children as he has to keep the peace. Now let's check him out. Next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Peacemaker and John Cena figures. Here are all three of McFarlane's Peacemaker figures. We have the helmet version from the Suicide Squad, the helmet version from Peacemaker Season 2, and then the unmasked version from the Suicide Squad. Now I did get an extra unmasked version for two reasons. Number one, I wanted to put a Mattel wrestling head on him with a better likeness. And number two, I wanted to make Chris Smith, which is Peacemaker's real identity, in civilian attire. I chose this NECA Dutch from Predator because he has a sort of similar look, the red shirt, the khaki pants, but he's not in the Peacemaker outfit. He's just in regular civilian clothing. And fuck it. I had an extra Peacemaker figure because I found the Batman Returns wave at Target, and then McFarlane shipped mine as well. So I was going to return the McFarlane one to Target, but I went ahead and decided to open it. Now I can have Chris Smith or Peacemaker from the regular dimension on the left, and from the Nazi dimension on the right. And tons of extra gear to go with my figures. Giving me quite a few Peacemaker figures, one more than the last group shot. And then here he is, next to a bunch of Mattel WWE John Cena figures. Some basic figures, some elite figures, and some ultimate figures. And I'm pretty sure if I wanted to tear through my entire collection, I've got several more Mattel John Cena figures, and some Jack-specific wrestling ones. Here he is, next to some of his teammates from the Suicide Squad, Polka Dot Man, King Shark, Bloodsport, and Ratcatcher 2. The Ratcatcher 2 is a custom. It's a shame that McFarlane didn't make Ratcatcher or Rick Flag. Here's Peacemaker next to a Mattel Rick Flag, a much smaller scale. Peacemaker killed Rick Flag in the Suicide Squad and had a lot of regret throughout Peacemaker Seasons 1 and 2. Now let's check him out, next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the 5th Digital Wave, DC Classics Batgirl, and Bronze Age Red Tornado. I'm still waiting for Blackfire to arrive, but should be a couple days. And here he is, next to both the Jokerized and Nightmare Superman figures. Then, with the most recent wave of Collector's Edition figures, we have Batman with the Mobius chair, and then Dr. Midnight. Now there is a Platinum Chase variant of both these figures, and I'm on the hunt for both, as well as on the hunt for the regular and Platinum version of the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Collector's Edition Beast Boy. If anybody has some information for me, can point me in the right direction, or can possibly help me out, please drop me a line in the comments below. It is much appreciated. And now, with the Ben Affleck Batman from the Flash movie that came with the Batcycle, and the new DC Rebirth Batman, here's Peacemaker, next to the Spectre vs. Atom Smasher 2-pack, and here he is, next to the glow-in-the-dark Bane Mega figure, and the Page Puncher Christ on Infinite Earth's Joker. The Joker's the only one from that wave that I have so far, still on the hunt for Superman, Extant, and Cheetah. Then, next to the Wonder Woman vs. Godzilla 2-pack, and now, with the Batman Returns movie wave, Batman, Catwoman, the Penguin, and Max Schreck. I'm still needing to get the Penguin Commandos, and the GameStop exclusive Penguin and his underwear. And finally, next to another recent wave of DC figures I found at Target, we have the Red Platinum Guardian, Hush Riddler, DC Classic Scarecrow and Batgirl, and the Red Platinum Dark Flash. I'm still on the hunt for the rest of the figures with this wave: Rainbow Batman, Pink Batman, Black Masses Batman, Earth 2 Batman, and Batman Incorporated Batman. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they are typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the large action figure lines I collect, and then work my way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 action figures, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale, and now with some Jack-specific resin figures and Diamond Select toys. Here's Peacemaker, next to a scented candle, and here he is with some DC Direct and NECA figures, then with both some Mattel and Jazzwares resin figures, and now with some Mezco and Mattel DC figures, next with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends, and finally with some SH Figure Arts and Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, I'd say it's a really cool Peacemaker figure. Even though there's a lot of reuse, and that's, I guess, my biggest complaints about him would be his outdated ball joints in the ankles and the wrists. But it looks great. There are some significant improvements. The likeness is way better. He comes with a gun, and he can actually holster it. He has 3 different helmets, 2 different heads, and I think they all look great. You have an actual armory for Peacemaker. You have an option to make 2 completely different versions of Peacemaker from different dimensions. Hell, that's the only reason I opened both these guys, and I wasn't even planning to. I didn't realize the helmet came off the head and you could swap it out. I thought they were just extra helmets for him to hold. It makes the figure that much sweeter. His accessories are fantastic, except for Eagly. He should be a lot better. Sculpt and paint job, I'd say, are excellent. Articulation is pretty good, slightly dated, but not bad. If I were to rate this guy, I want to give him an 8 out of 10. But he's not perfect. I mean, I guess he should get an 8 out of 10. I like him. He looks good. If they upgraded like his elbows and the torso articulation and a couple other things, he'd probably get like a 9. But as is, I'd say he's a solid 8. So this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.